Hey folks, Stronghold Crafter Cav here. Welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to continue my tutorial on how to make a castle tower out of foam. Yes! Alright, in this particular video I'm going to focus on how to do the detailing of the crenellated Merlons so that they will pretty much match the overall walls of the tower and how they are unique in their how they fit together. And that about wraps up that part of the segment. For more information on my craft, visit my website, which is strongholdsoffantasy.com. I'm getting out of order here. If you like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and if you are a subscriber, thank you. I really appreciate it. Also, if you like this channel, feel free to subscribe, because a lot more things come on the channel and I wouldn't want you to miss out. Did I forget anything? I think that pretty much covers it. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. Hey folks, welcome back to this tutorial. And in this part we're going to focus on detailing the Merlons. Now you're going to have two sets of Merlons for a tower, and just to simplify things, I'm just going to show you just two sets out of four. You're going to have two of these and two of these, and they're going to fit together, of course, like so. So let me see if I can bring the magnifier up just a little bit. Alright. Now, I go with a simple block pattern like the tower walls, and I will show you what I'm talking about here. Now, I just make simple marks for the where I'm going to use the Hot Wire Foam Factory engraver. So without further ado, I will show you how that's done. And I'm also going to use a rafting square, which I've used in other videos. And the easiest way to do this is to have a spare piece to help steady it as you're going through them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do both sides, which I pre-marked. They're going to be about ½ inch apart. Okay, two things to keep in mind. This thing is very hot. It can burn you, so be very careful. Like any hot wire tools. And have a window open for ventilation. So an important thing to consider health-wise. And that's pretty much how it turns out. Alright, I'm going to do the other side and I'll get back with you. Alright, now I went and did both sides like I talked about, but I also pre-marked some additional patterns I want to do. See, the bottom part here, it needs to have some brick lines. So obviously these Merlons are resting on top of some blocks per se, and I did measure these out about 1 inch apart for this long piece here, and that's less than 1 inch here obviously. And this other part here I kind of freehanded it because it doesn't matter. These are almost about 1 inch here, so I kind of fudged that part there. And basically you just want to take the hot wire tool, and you can easily do this freehand. Okay, I'll finish up the other sides and I'll get back with you. Okay, that part's done. Keep in mind you're going to have angel hairs to deal with. Just no big deal. Just do a spot check. And I'm thinking about it. You want to make sure that if you're doing a block pattern on something this thick, make sure the lines correspond with both sides. And like for example, this one here, it's a long block, and you've got all these that are about the same size, except for this piece right here. Okay. So what we want to do is, when we turn it on the other side, we want to have the corresponding size here, so that it looks like they would match up on the other side. So that's some tedious detail, but you know, structurally you want it to make sense, of course. The only other thing to do now with making these look more like blocks on top of each other is to engrave the sides of the Merlons. So, with this long piece here, we need to go and do the sides here, and then I will go further on with the other part. Yeah, and you can see how the two sides meet up to allow. Let's see here if we can. Sorry about the lighting, folks. There we go. It's always contrasts better with a darker color. But, yep. All right. Now, for the other part of this, what I do is using the grooves already cut in, I use that as a guideline to cut in and out very carefully. So this is where you got to be very careful where your fingers are and where the hot wire tool is. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, and of course angel hairs. And I usually go in about halfway, so you can see the contrast there. It gives it that more authentic look, I think. And they're not evenly, perfectly spaced. They're gonna have a slight angle to them, but no big deal. And of course you have to do the other side too. So I'm going to do the other side and show you how it looks. And yeah, more angel hairs. You can pretty much clean them out as you go. So now you can see how there's a more dramatic contrast there with those sides cut out on the, let's say, the front end. So I'm just going to flip this over and do the other side and show you how it turns out. What was I thinking? You need to see how it connects. So let's. Alright. Again, my hand was in the way of the light, I'm sorry. There we go. The sugar cube effect. So, now, at this point, we need a difference in the front and the back, because we want to have an angled part in the front, which is purely optional, but I always like to do that. And so you need to pick a front and a back, per se. So I'm going to get the other hot wire tool ready, and I'll get back with you. Hold on. Alright, now, using the Hot Wire Foam Factory freehand router, I'm going to basically cut some little notches out of between the Merlons here so that it has more of a dip dramatically, and it also gives it a little bit more style detail. So I'm going to, and once this is done, you only do it on one side so you know which one's your front at that point. So very carefully I'm going to just cut this piece out here. Alright, a couple things to keep in mind. Be very careful, you don't want to cut into your Merlons that you worked so hard to cut and shape. And then at this point what I do is I take a small file and smooth this down so it's not so rough. And now comes the next fun part, which is optional, but if you want to have a more of an angled look on the back, which I usually do on all my Merlons, it will give it a more volley area for the archer to shoot from the Merlons. So hold on, I'll do the marks for that. Alright, now before I continue, I wanted to show this up close. Let's see if I can get a contrast here. Using the small file I was talking about, I basically filed these rough edges down so they're more smooth, so you can think of someone actually pouring oil or shooting downwards. They have more of an angle to do so, and also gives it a nice look, I think. Of course, Merlons and how they look on the walls and tops of towers is purely a design aspect. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, I'm going to actually cut off the corners here for the back part of the Merlons, and this is going to go all the way around all the Merlons on the top of the tower. And the reason I do this is for the functional aspect I said earlier, and I also think about how these Merlons are they're higher than a 28mm figure. So if you have flying enemies coming in, these Merlons actually provide some downward protection right off the bat because they're so high. So I will take this and show you what I'm talking about here. With now you don't want to cut down too far, and you'll be very careful your angle here. But basically, I'm going to go right down and out. And let me pause the camera and I'll clean this up. Alright, after going through and sanding down a little bit with the file on the edges here, and clearing away the angel hairs, and one thing I didn't point out was when you do cut into here, it's going to obscure the lines you created when you initially did the carving. So after you clean things out and get things more focus, come on, get things more steady, you need to go back and take the engraving tool and reconnect the lines that get cut away. And this is an optional step. This doesn't have to be done. This part here with cutting these parts out, that doesn't have to be done. It's just another thing you can add to the detail as opposed to the painting. And that pretty much sums up the fully detailing the Merlons. So thanks for watching, and until the next tutorial, bye.